I am so happy with how this looks for the Rangers. We have a pitcher, Jack Leiter, and he is a dude.
And while I do think his hitting is worse than Derek Jeter, it's not that far off.
You're not mentioning 2006. You can mention the other people, not 2006.
Oh, just because I bought the best soap doesn't mean your room's going to be clean. It just leaves it to where I don't believe that the Canadians had a shot.
I really don't like the Clippers just kind of sending it in when they're like,
Hi, this is Kelly Forbes with the Dallas Stars, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NHL Opinions of the Week. We are about 12 games into the NHL season. There have been some surprising starts and some surprising not notable starts that are surprising. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by the preacher of believing in yourself, Austin.
Yeah, it's been a crazy start to the season by a lot of teams, and I've really been surprised by some good performances, some bad performances, but there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, so let's just get right into it, talking about those teams. We got 5 good, 5 bad. How about we do 5 bad and then 5 good, so we end on a good note?
Sounds good. So
All right.
the first team I'll talk about is the St. Louis Blues. They started off the season 3-0, and now they're 3-6. They've lost 6 straight games. They are obviously struggling very much as we move into kind of sort of the beginning of this, the beginning of the end of the beginning of the season. Kind of confusing wording there, but they obviously are struggling their past 6, and it's something's wrong, and they definitely need to change it as soon as possible.
Yeah, and it's surprising because they looked very good. You had Kyrou, a young player, and Bennington, great goalie, and they just haven't got off to a great start. So that is surprising. Oh, they also had Tarasenko, and there were trade rumors last year, but they moved on from that. And I'm just going to look at Jordan Kyrou's stats this year. As I pull those up, he's only got 3 goals, and those are 3 points. I just don't think that's the start we thought for him compared to the other young stars last year. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. This is not what we expected from a Blues team that is last year won a playoff series and then lost in 6 to the eventual champions and looked primed to make another playoff run, but this year just hasn't gotten up to that start.
Yeah, so now the second team that we have is the Florida Panthers. They had an incredible season last year, and then they added Tkachuk, and they just only have 3 wins. I lost the standings.
That they are 6-5-6, 6-5-1, 6-5-1. My bad.
And yeah, and they're at the bottom of their division where we thought they would be at the top.
Yeah, they're near the bottom of a division that they dominated last year, and even though they lost Huberdeau, like you mentioned, they added Tkachuk, and I really expected them to be, if not the best team in their division, at least one of the best, and that just clearly is not the case this early in the season.
Yeah, and last year it was Huberdeau at the top for points, and then I can't remember who's the second Florida Panther in the top 5 or
Top 5 of what?
Of top 5 of points scored or of points
Last year?
Yeah, wasn't it Huberdeau and someone else?
I don't believe so. If there was somebody, it would have been Barkov, but I don't think Barkov was all that high.
Okay. But Tkachuk, I'm looking at the points leaders. Tkachuk is at 10, which isn't bad. He's not in the top 5 like Huberdeau was last year. But it's a slow start. They can still figure it out, but surprising. And then what's the other team?
So the next team that we will discuss is the Vancouver Canucks, a team that started 0-5, kind of has found their footing a little bit, 3-6-3. In the last 10, they're 3-4-3. They keep shooting themselves in the foot, get off to a good start in the game, and end up losing it.
Yeah, and they're a team that kind of had some sparks last year and looked to be turning around, but they just haven't. They got to that bad start, as you said, but maybe they're starting to turn around. Not sure. Now I think we can move on to the other team, which is the Penguins, who lost in the playoffs last year, but they are second to last in the Metropolitan Division. Have only won 4 games, lost 6, well, lost 8, and just they're on a 7-game losing streak. And they no, their goalie started playing well last year. Um, shoot, why am I forgetting his name?
Tristan Jarry.
Tristan Jarry had a bad playoffs 2 years ago, but it seemed like he was turning around. But just not the start we thought from the Penguins.
Yeah, and this is a team that is older in age, and Crosby's still playing very well, and so is Malkin relatively. So I'm kind of surprised about their lack of success, but obviously, again, with all of these teams, something is wrong, and while injuries have played some part of the role, they got to change it around before too late.
Yeah, and another team that's aged and just hasn't started off well is the Capitals. And it's I'm looking for points, and it's taken me a little bit to find.
The Capitals are 5-6-2. They have 12 points, which is more than the Penguins, but they played one more game, so they're technically lower in the or they're about the same points wise, but one more game. They've lost 4 straight. They've struggled against teams that you expect them to beat. Ovechkin's played fine, uh, but they're struggling. 4-4-2 in their last 10, but like I said, 4 straight losses is definitely not the way you want to go.
Yeah, and we thought they're struggling with goalies last year, and seems to have not been the same thing. Seems to be the same thing this year, but that rounds out our team with 5 surprising bad starts. Hopefully, they can turn it around. It's not the end of the season, just not where we thought they would be when we did our season predictions. Now we'll go to good teams. Let's start off with the Jets, who hired Rick Bowness this offseason, and they are second in the Central Division. 7 wins, only 4 losses, and that's just an incredible win for a team that kind of just seemed like they were going to be in the middle ground, but now they're near the top right now.
Yeah, and they've been one of the best home teams all season. Them and the Stars are both 80% of their home games, 4 to 5, they've won. And Rick Bowness is definitely working. Hellebuck, their goalie's played well. Shifley's come back into his own. And they're just coming together. And I'm definitely happy for this team, a team that obviously made it to the second round of the playoffs 2 years ago, and then last year missed the playoffs, but they could be bouncing back.
Yes, and now another team that's off to another strong start is the Las Vegas Knights. Even without goalie Robin Leonard, their new goalie Thompson has been playing incredibly well. He's actually the top 5 in, or he's in the top 6 in goals allowed average with only 2 goals, and that's great. And they have been off to a hot start, and they are leading the Pacific Division with 11 wins and only 2 losses.
Yeah, a team that has the best record in hockey after the Bruins lost the other day. But 6-1 road record, best in hockey. Very, very impressive road team. And I'm not going to count a team like the Oilers, who are 3-0. Not enough games on the road, but 6-1. That's a very good start on the road, and it's definitely impressive watching them play.
Yeah, Bruce Cassidy has done a great job in his first few games to start it. And speaking of where he left, the Bruins, Jim Montgomery has also been doing a great job for the Bruins, and Pastrnak is playing well. He is number 5 in points with 19 points, and so that's just a great. It seems like he was always good, but it seems like he's entering into that great category. Or is that too early for me to say, Austin?
Oh, I would definitely agree with you. He's definitely reaching that great category. And even though he's already had a season with 40 goals, basically, it definitely looks as this will be the start of his prime.
Yeah, and just a funny thing is the Stars are also a team that's having a surprising start. and that's Pete DeBauer as a new head coach. So you have former Stars coach Rick Bowness, surprisingly good team. Bruce Cassidy, former Bruins coach, great start. Jim Montgomery, also former Stars, and then you have Pete. I already said Pete DeBauer, former Knights coach. All
Yeah,
those coaches in
Peter
there.
DeBoer, yeah.
Yeah, Peter DeBoer. Just all great starts for the new coaches that and teams where their former teams.
Yeah, and it looks like a change of scenery is what they needed for all these coaches. And I mean, the Stars, Joe Pavelski, again, point per game player. Robertson, Hintz, that's still one of the best lines in hockey. Robertson, Hintz, and Pavelski, they just keep it going. And Pavelski's 38, 12 points, 12 games. I don't know what else you could ask.
Yeah, and then Jamie Benn, it's like you always had that great line, Pavelski and Sons last year, but now it's kind of like the other lines are doing well, and Miro's getting in the offense more. Jamie Benn, Dennis Gurionov, Wyatt Johnson, the young 19-year-old, and then Jake Ottinger is continuing to play, even though he's injured. You have Scott Wedgwood filling in very nicely.
Yeah, and with Ottinger, they've obviously lost. Without Ottinger, I'll say they've definitely lost some games that they maybe could have won with him. But this is something that we see is that they're surviving with a backup goalie. And that's all you really need to do in the NHL, especially if your goalie's going to come back relatively soon.
And now the final team we have is the New Jersey Devils, who are leading the Metropolitan Division, 9 wins and only 3 losses.
Yeah, this is another team that many people did not expect doing this well, but I would say this is probably the most surprising team. So leaving them for last is probably for the best because while the Devils, I did think were going to be at least close to a playoff team and we're definitely going to get better, but they lost some players before the season started, made some moves. Now they've won 6 straight. They're 9-1 in their last 10 games, 9-3 overall. What a start!
Yeah, and I think that's a great way to end our episode. And let us know what you think. Let us know if we left off a team that's surprising to you. Feel free to tweet at us at OO_pod21. Thank you for listening, and check out all our other videos for Outsiders Opinions.